one of the exciting and dangerous things that comes out of a conversational style of preaching when we do lessons like we do here at the Lock is that, in a regular setting, you may listen to somebody's ideas or sermons they proclaim, and then you absorb, and then you're supposed to go apply it maybe, later. But what we do is we give real feedback in the moment, so people can say their cautions, their concerns, their pushback, or just feedback, and it's dynamic in the moment. It's very electric. You never know what's going to happen. It's part of that emergent possibility that makes the moment like a real living moment. I love it, but I'm also very aware that it is dangerous in the moment because you never know what somebody's going to say. They're taking a risk by talking back to their pastor, and so there's always a dynamic of power going on there, and there's just so much happening in the moment. So this past week, we were doing the Real Fake, Fake Real series, and I was outlining this quadrant where we have the real, and we were using Christmas trees as our analogy. So you have a real tree that was cut down, brought indoors, we're calling it the real. You have a fake, which is like a tinsel tree, or maybe one of these fiber optic trees that changes every color of the rainbow or something like that. No one's under the impression that occurs naturally in nature and someone chopped it down and brought it inside. But where things are a little trickier is when you have the fake real. This is like a green tree, but it's plastic, but it's made to look like a real tree. So that's a real fake, or a fake real. And then where it gets tricky is the real fake. So it's a real tree, but then we do something to it. So in this case, we put this white flocking on it to make it look like it just snowed. And it's like styrofoam or something, and no one's under the impression that you brought that tree in and the snow has stayed here for 14 days, right? It's a real fake. It's a real tree, but it has been improved or modified or upgraded or managed or tailored or modified. These are all words that we were playing with. So we're going around the room, and somebody who was here in support, wanted to be a part of this big conversation that we're starting in January, says, in a real moment of honesty from them, that they're uncomfortable saying that anyone else or someone else's experience or some other group's perspective is fake. That they don't like, they've been othered themselves, and they don't want to draw a line between us and them and say that what someone else holds is fake. And so there was a real caution about drawing any line in the sand or making any designation like that at all. So, as I have to do, I said to the person, would it help you at all if I admitted that I was a real fake? And there was kind of this nervous laughter in the room. And then the person said, no, that would not help. And everyone laughed. It was hilarious. Because, of course, no one wants their pastor to admit that their pastor is a real fake. And yet, the whole thing I want to do with this conversation is to say that even the real, what we call the real in this scenario, is a tree that you probably grew in a Christmas tree plantation, then chopped down and falsely transplanted inside. I mean, you've cut the life off of that tree, and you've brought it inside. And so when people get up on their high horse as like Christmas tree purists, there's even something we have to address there, because they're saying like, oh, we only have real trees. We get our trees from the Rocky Mountain Christmas tree farm. Like, we even know the name of the couple who chopped down this tree, right? And you go, oh, that's impressive. But even that, just that enterprise is flawed from the beginning, because you are murdering a tree, in a sense, bringing it inside so that you can have a symbol of life in the deadest part of winter, and then you put lights on it during the darkest part of the calendar year. And so all of the symbolism, it's hard to be too much of a purist when the entire enterprise is compromised from the beginning. So you can get up on your high horse or speak from your soapbox and say, like, we only do real Christmas trees. But even the real needs to be examined. And so that's why this series is so fun. So this coming week, we're actually talking about TV preachers. Like, do these guys actually believe their own stuff? And like, when they pray for a new jet, and you know, there's this lots of famous stories right now about even the numbers of jets that people like, say, a Joyce Meyer has, that she has these jets, but does she think that's congruent with the gospel? So do they drink their own medicine is the question. Or are they modern day snake oil salesmen who cynically know that this is just big business? Or do they really believe the gospel? So are they a fake real or a real fake? Because you have, like, for instance, medicine women, shaman, witch doctors, who in the past, pre-modern history, we would say that's real, that's the real, right? There's something going on there. We also know the fake, which is like the comedian doing a caricature of a TV preacher, and we know that's supposed to be comedy. Where we get confused is between the snake oil salesman who cynically sells something to people knowing that it's fraudulent, but the person who really believes their own press and drinks their own Kool-Aid, they are a true believer, and yet there's something false or suspicious about the entire TV preacher enterprise. And I want to talk about that, because I also want to talk about decorating your backyard with Tibetan prayer flags that you can buy now from World Market and places like this as decorations. So what does it mean to lift a symbol like that or borrow from a tradition as decoration? Right? Like, is that real or is that fake? And I want to talk about that, because what we're building up to in week 3 is to look at what does it mean to have a cross necklace that's gold and jewel encrusted. What inside a capitalist system are you saying that you're dying to with a cross necklace? Because it looks to me like maybe you won. Like maybe it's a victory celebration. I don't know. But I want to have that conversation. And so this real, fake, both of those, no problem. Where we get in trouble is with the real fake and the fake real. That's why we're having this conversation. I'm excited because at the end of this past week's gathering, and the podcast should be out by the time that you see this, if you want to look at it, the Loft LA, the podcast from Real Fake, Fake Real. The thing that I'm excited about is that I want to, in a space like this, that's kind of uniquely configured for a dynamic, emergent, in real-time conversation, I want to see if we can articulate, these are my 3 A's, I want to articulate a vision of Christian spirituality in the 21st century in a consumeristic culture like ours that is both accurate, I want to be able to name things and actually say where they come from, and authentic. So whether we're going to go organic or indigenous or holistic or whatever words we want to do there, but I want to articulate a vision of Christian spirituality in the 21st century that is both accurate. I have no interest in playing fiction or being superstitious. Fantasy. I have no interest in fantasy. And is authentic. And so it's genuine. I think that there is an appeal, there's an attractiveness if we could have that conversation. So, if you want to be a part of the online conversation that is happening on Facebook, now on the blog, on the YouTube, whatever, you want to chime in on Twitter, I would love for you to be a part of that conversation. If you're going to be on the west side of LA on a Sunday, be here at 10 a.m. as we sit in this room and have this conversation. I am excited to host this conversation, but I'll be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to end because I'm not entirely in control. I have introduced the rubric we're using, this fourfold quadrant thing, but I'm not providing all the content. And so I am so grateful for those of you who have jumped in and are being a part of this dynamic conversation, both here at the Loft and in the circle of the interwebs in the electronic community. So, thank you. And I hope that you will contribute your best as we collaborate together to figure out if this project can happen.